Robert.
We can cut that bit out. It's
There you
fine.
go.
We can cut that bit out. They won't even know. Okay. Thank you for joining us on Full Shemine, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to discuss the UEFA Europa Conference League Group B Matchday 2 of 6, which resulted in a victory for West Ham by 3-2. Duke, what was your perspective on the unfoldings at JYSK Park over there in Denmark?
I think the highlight for me, even though I wasn't there, was the fact that you could stand at the bar and watch the game in the away end.
I saw
That looked
that.
absolutely outstanding.
Did you hear about the cans of beers they were giving out?
I thought that was fantastic as well. I thought that
They're
was
in for a shock when they come to London Stadium.
most people that went last night, mate, were in for an awful shock. As I just said to you before we clicked live, I saw about 80% of the game, 85% of the game. I was helping out our darts team. Didn't go well. I spent about an hour having a conversation with my friend Neil after the game. It's worrying. I'm worried. Okay.
Okay.
Now Kent, obviously, long time friend of the channel, Kent, put something on his own Facebook earlier today about, certain people are Moyes in, certain people are Moyes out, certain people are moaning left, right, and centre. Now, I get the moaning. I'm not going to moan, and I'm certainly not advocating that Moyes is turfed out the door and would look elsewhere, because off the back of two historical seasons, one in the Premier League and in Europe, and once again we're in Europe. Now's not the time for knee jerk by fans.
Agreed.
or by the club. But there's some concerns, Rob. There are some
Agreed.
major concerns for me. Okay.
Same.
Now I'm going to skip to the end of my conversation with Neil. I advertised his goalkeeping services the other day. I'm going to do so again now. If anyone needs any goalkeeping coaches for their kids, give Neil a shout. Neil Manning,
Might need him at West
1-to-1
Ham.
goalkeeping, mate.
We'll get into that.
Goalkeeping is the least of my concerns as we speak. There seems to be some. There seems to be something going on in your house. Neil made it perfectly clear last night that we seem tactically inept right now, and I was completely in agreement with him. We don't know what we're trying to do. Okay, for me, I said to you yesterday, the only reason he changes from a 4-2-3-1 is to go 5 at the back, okay, or 3 at the whatever. Made a comment right before his goal. I had my entire pub in absolute fits last night, Rob. Okay, just skipping ahead quickly. Skamaka's goal, okay, not 45 seconds, 50 seconds before he did what he did. I was screaming at the telly, why is my centre forward, my 35, 36, 37 million pound centre forward. I do believe, Rob, I put it in the chat, didn't I? Why in God's green earth is my centre forward playing as a left winger? It wasn't that he was drifting out to the left like Antonio does to receive the ball and push on. He wasn't doing that. It's like he'd been grabbed hold of before the game and he'd been told, you're playing left wing, stay on the left wing. You know, and I screamed at the telly, why the fuck is why is my centre forward playing left wing? We need to feed him the ball in and around the box. Stop fucking putting him on the left wing. As I finish this sentence, and people are agreeing with me, I had a handful of West Ham fans in the pub. We win the ball back about 35 yards out. The ball goes into his feet on the edge of the D. He makes a very sharp turn and unleashes a shot that I don't think any goalkeeper saving, Rob, Premier League or otherwise, the Danish Premier League, whatever, don't care. It's a shot that hits the back of the net, which is where I want my centre forward. Yep. Now, I think I proved the point. He was drifting wide to allow Paqueta the freedom of the middle of the pitch. Okay. But that's not what I want him doing. My concern is that Moyes is trying to change everything that he did right by getting us the 2 top 8 finishes, 2 top 7 finishes, by getting us into Europe 2 seasons on the bounce. 4-2-3-1. We don't retain possession particularly well. We're not a possession-based team. We haven't been for 2 years. I've kind of come away from, well, we need more than 30% possession in a game because we're winning 2-1, 3-1. Listen, you and me have discussed this. That's where I'm at. Seems like Moyes is trying to change our identity. And I don't like it because we're not playing to the strengths of the players that we have. Now, I said last night to Neil, Neil, I'm going to read you some, just the start of the text messages. These messages started at 9:45. Neil messaged me saying, I can't lie, I'm fucking worried about this season. We look tactically poor. Anything that doesn't include Rice looks amateur. In the final third, it's either a shit cross or it's a pass backwards. The other week when Deck gave it away, in Bunny Rabbit ears, they failed to mention that he was actually trying to combine on the edge of the opposition box. When was the last time that you saw us do that? I worry that Paqueta, Scamacca, Emerson are not Moyes' style whatsoever, and taking that away from us is suicide. It's just dreadful. We should have lost tonight. Dodgy penalty, dodgy playing from the back, and several fantastic Areola saves got us out of jail. As for Bowen, he put a thumbs down. Looks like he's playing for Hereford.
Oh, yeah, he was not very good.
And then he put, buying these players looks great on paper, not having it whatsoever. Scamacca is just another version of Hilaire. I've put, we don't know how to utilise the fantastic players that we've got. I thought it was really fucking painful. He's put, I get that it's going to take a while to gel. And I put, no, that doesn't cut it for me, not anymore. And it doesn't. These players have been together for going on 6 weeks now, most of them. Training, playing. They've consistently been together. That doesn't cut it for me anymore. I'm sorry, I'm not having this time to gel. Not being funny, Kehrer walked in and Kehrer looks like the best signing we've made all season.
And yet he was essentially, I don't want to say he was a panic signing, but he wasn't a priority until we obviously had a bit of a crisis at centre-half.
Yeah.
You know, Aguerd got injured. Diop made it clear that he wasn't hanging around, so he was off. Ogbonna was injured. Dawson was injured. The only fit centre-half we had was Zuma, and fit in the loosest sense of the word. So he wasn't someone that was a priority for Dave Moyes. He was more a serendipitous signing. There you go. A serendipitous signing.
Yeah, he was.
Beautiful accident.
He then put, it's going to take a while for him to gel. I put what I put in, but that might mean us finishing 14th this season and him getting the sack, as in Moyes. I put that was beyond shit. I don't get it. And then Neil hit the nail on the head. He's put, we're caught between styles now. We saw the game against Aston Villa. We saw the game against Steaua Bucharest last week. We're starting off trying to change formation, trying to change what we do as a starting side.
What did you think of that team, Duke? Both in terms of the personnel and the shape. When that team that's on the screen there lined up as it is there, what was your thoughts?
Based on the 11, I thought okay. Based on the shape, I thought wank. Absolute wank. They're like, stop. Stop fucking around and stop fucking around now. 4, 2, 3, 1. That's it. Now, I will advocate swapping 2 players' positions on the pitch.
Okay.
I would leave Cornet on the right where he is in this picture, and I would put Bowen on the left. The reason I advocate for that now is to stop slowing our play down. Okay? What we're doing is, I've come to the conclusion, Emerson can't cross a ball, Soufal can't cross a ball. They're shit at crossing a ball, right? They can't do it. They're dog shit. And then when we use the players on the left and the right that we have been, we slow the play down because we have to come back onto our other foot, and then we, you know, their players are back. Better teams then defend because they get more players behind the ball, okay? We don't create, but, you know, Neil says it here. Last 3 years, Rob, everyone knew their jobs. Yeah, it didn't matter what formation we played in. We could have played a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, even a 3-6-1. It didn't matter. The players knew what their jobs were. Specifically, Bowen, Declan Rice, Thomas Souček. It didn't matter. They had their jobs. They did their jobs. He goes on to say, you know, we don't create chances in the box. We don't create chances around the box. You know, we won the ball back quite high on the pitch for Scamacca's goal. Great finish. You know, Cornet, great penalty, by the way, but wasn't a penalty. Wasn't a penalty. I don't care. That goes to VAR. We don't get it. Goes the other way. The fall over from Areola in the box. That's piss off.
Yeah, that was very soft.
He goes on to say, I don't know how Silkeborg haven't won that. I do wonder if it's Moyes attempting to change styles, but not having the players. And by that I mean, you know, the players in midfield, the players at the back. Cresswell doesn't cut it for me anymore. He last season, maybe the season before, yeah, quite appreciated him at centre-back. Well, we don't need to do that anymore, Rob. You know, we don't need to do that. We've got...
It was his 300th game yesterday. Did you know that?
Yep, and he was poor. Right? I get annoyed, yeah? I do wonder if it's a Moyes attempting to change the style, not having the players. He's put, I don't know, mate. I've never seen a David Moyes side in my life that genuinely played to dominate the ball. Okay, I went on to make a comment about Graham Potter at Chelsea. Okay, Potter created a side at Brighton that was ball terrier like.
Yep.
Yeah. Diminutive players that will work hard, graft, will bleed for the Brighton shirt. That's what he created at Brighton. Is he going to do the same at Chelsea? No, I think he's going to be out of his depth. My opinion, this is the same guy that probably 3 months ago turned around and said Erling Haaland wouldn't do jack shit in the Premiership. Let's not listen to me too much, shall we? He's then put, I just think he's never done it in his managerial life. So he doesn't even know how to. He doesn't know how to play dominant football. The other team dominate. We do what we do: break possession, break pace, score. You know, I don't know, mate. If we're going to dominate the ball, David Moyes isn't the one for us. I'd rather he just did what he was good at. I just don't see it working. I predict Antonio will play far more games than Scamacca will in the league this year. And we're all going to be left wondering why Paqueta was worth 50 odd million quid when it ain't even going to be his fault, because we're not playing to the strengths of the players that we have. Hopefully they can get it right. They can defend properly, attack aggressively, win more games. But we don't do it. We build up the play. We're too slow. Little triangle plays of football doesn't suit us, not with Souček. And all due respect, Lanzini, who, I'm sorry, he isn't it anymore. Rice needs to be the one that carries the ball forward to get us some goals. Downs might be that man to partner him. If we give it to Sufau on the overlap, to cross it to Bowen in the middle, one more in time. And he said, has that not been thought out? And then I replied, and this was the key part I wanted to give to you out of the entire conversation. I put, Downs is definitely now the guy to free up Declan Rice to go forward. If you remove Sufal from the firing line, you put Ashby in, he's got a fucking cracking cross on him, Harrison Ashby. I think he's ready, and I think as an attacking fullback, he can put in a good cross, Robert. He always, we've witnessed that.
Apparently he's not featuring because of a groin injury, I hear.
Well, if that's the case, then that's the case. It's, we're going to get injuries, and fair enough. I've play the ball into the feet of Scamacca in and around the edge of the box. Look what he did last night. Yeah, he managed to hold off the player, turn and let one go. He can then feed in someone like Paqueta. If Paqueta comes in and starts attacking. And then I maybe try Bowen on the left, Cornet on the right. It's their natural feet. They can beat a man and get the cross in. Paqueta for me as a number 10, but with total freedom.
No defensive responsibility.
Yeah.
Can you see Moyes doing that?
I personally think Paqueta and Scamacca have to be now devoid of any defensive involvement.
Okay.
I can't
see him doing that.
Both of them. Don't have either of them dropping back past the halfway. And I'm sorry, we can't. Because if we want to break quick, they've got to be up front, Rob. Because Paqueta can find that pass. Paqueta is an absolute talent, right? Absolute talent. And if we're going to break with pace, then you've got to have Cornet and Bowen. Bowen's not exactly shit off a shovel fast, but he's quick. Cornet, on the other hand, is shit off a shovel fast. We need to have those two players. Now,
yeah.
I've done with the conversation there.
Just to answer Kent's question there, yes, Cornet and Bowen are both left-footed.
Then we need to go out and buy a right-footed player. It's quite simple. I'm sorry. Then you've wasted money on one of the two. Do I think Benny can cut it consistently? No, I don't. Whether that's Moyes ruining his confidence because I'm not digging Benny out on his own. I'm not digging Benny out on his own. We don't know what's going on there. We don't know what's going on, and I'm sick and tired of trying to guess. He has his favourites. We know this. Benny isn't one of them.
Yep.
Benny's a right-footed player. We've seen that. He cuts in from the left and let's go. Yep. So then put Benny on the right. Problem is when Benny came up against Steaua Bucharest on the right, he did fuck all, Rob. Nothing. We need someone down that right wing who's going to be able to get down the ring and whip in across. So what do we do? For me, Paqueta has to have total freedom. Total freedom.
That I agree with.
Fantastic number 10. Sit him in that hole behind Scamacca. Put Scamacca up front. Make sure that he's devoid of all defense. Not being funny, Rob. Not being funny. 8 players, including your goalkeeper, should be enough to be able to do their defensive duties. Because I don't see the two centre forwards, the two centre backs and a defensive midfielder from the other team breaking out and overlapping us. Right? I don't see it happening. So then you can afford to leave 2 players up the top and tell them to go do. Because we're not going to get overwhelmed if you've got 8 other players doing a job at the back, Rob. And then we break out with pace.
He ain't going to do that. He might do one.
Then I'll tell you what he's doing, Rob. I'll tell you what he's doing. If this continues, he's signing his own dismissal papers. He really is.
One thing I want to be sort of, we got to be fair and even-handed about this. Am I happy with the performance last night? Nah.
Dog shit. Absolute dog shit.
I think that once that triple substitution was made in the second half, that just seemed to any sort of cohesive sort of pattern or any sort of like useful sort of play that we were doing up to that point, which was few and far between. It just dropped like a stone. Bowen, I thought, was absolutely shocking. I loved Jared Bowen. I'm not bashing Jared Bowen.
How he's got into the England squad is beyond me.
I think the reason he's got into the England squad is because Marcus Rashford is injured. But even then, I sort of sit there and think, well, Jadon Sancho.
Yep.
But I said yesterday, I thought he could count himself very lucky to have been in that England squad. And then, lo and behold, a couple of hours later, yes, he came off the bench. I get it. But you have to be able, if you're an England international, which he is now, he's playing in his second year of European football. So he's expected to deliver, whether that's off the bench or whether that's from starting. That's the price of success, Jared. If you think you're as good as you think you are, then that's what you've got to produce. You've got to sometimes come off the bench and deliver. Now, yesterday he was abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. He's had one game this season that I can say that he looked decent in. Other than that, he's been poor. And you and I both know if that was let's reference him again. Saeed Benrahma. He wouldn't have got the opportunities that Jared Bowen has got this season if he'd have been put in those levels of performances. No chance. And yet Benrahma's had a couple of games this season where he's looked really good. And then the following week, he's on the bench again. And you sit there and you go, I can't work this out. Flynn Downs, prime example. Last week, absolutely ripped it up. Now, I know that some people might turn around and say, yeah, but don't forget we've got the game against Everton. But he had a week. He didn't have a game last week because obviously the fixtures got binned. So what's the harm? What you telling me?
What you're telling me is that he's going to start. You telling me he's guaranteed to start on Sunday?
Oh, well, that's going to be the
there's the argument, Rob, isn't it?
That's the
argument, because what we're saying right now is that, well, we took Declan Rice off because we need to save him for Sunday. I'll have an argument with that because, again, we didn't play last week. But the most annoying thing is we fell apart when Declan Rice walked off that pitch.
Oh, massively.
I mean, the whole cohesiveness, it fell apart.
Yeah.
Right? But what you're saying to me is Souček came on. Okay, great. Does that mean Downs is a nailed-on starter on Sunday? Because if Downs doesn't start, I'm going to kick off. I'm going to throw my toys out my pram. Because Downs, if Rice had gone off last night for Souček, Downs would have still continued to keep that midfield in and ticking over.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, we were made to look. Well, we were embarrassed last night. Again, when you take into consideration the affiliation points of the Danish league, right? Huge pram. When you take it,
wheelbarrow.
It's like a shopping trolley. All right, you prick. It hurts. That Silkeborg team there would struggle to stay in the Premier League, just in general, right? We made them look like Barcelona at points last night. Their first goal, I want to punch Declan Rice in the face and I want to punch SILWHU in the face, because there was no effort on their first goal last night by those two players. Declan Rice, well, just kind of went lumbering.
I thought Lanzini was culpable as well.
Oh, mate, the 11 were culpable for the first goal. We just weren't at the races, Rob. It was 5 minutes, massive. A bit like West Ham aren't anymore. We were embarrassed, Rob, by a team that probably will finish between every season that they play would finish between 18th in the Premier League, right? 18th in the Premier League and maybe 5th in the Championship every season that they play.
Yeah. 5 minutes in, there it is. Kasper Kusk. 1-0 Silkeborg.
Look at Declan Rice watching.
For fuck's sake. Yeah.
Declan Rice didn't get out to him, Rob. Didn't get out to him at all. Kind of stood there. And then Declan Rice had the gall to glare at Areola because Areola didn't move. Well, not being funny, mate, you were standing in front of him.
To be fair, from Areola wouldn't have seen that till late. Now, I'm not saying, again, Areola didn't have a great game. Areola did not have a great game, but I can't blame him for that first goal.
I think he had the best game he's had for us with the amount of fucking saves he had to make, Rob. Yeah, there was a few dodgy, the goal coming out and falling over. But his saves, Rob, were the reason that we won that. His save made us win that game. There was no one else on. Mate, there were 3 or 4 that he made. But it was the one where he's falling backwards and his right hand comes out and he makes a save. He was the reason we won that game. If it wasn't for him, we lose that game.
And you don't think that was a penalty?
No, I don't. I think it was a very, very poor, soft penalty. Very poor. Then
it's European refs. You've seen softer. Softer
yeah. But it wouldn't have been given in the Premiership, mate.
Probably not. But Skamaka's goal, like I say, that I was like, yeah. And I'll tell you who else I think needs a bit of credit. I mean, we're going to give Skamaka credit for the goal, but the guy that got the assist, and I think his general performance, I thought Maxwell Cornet could hold his head up high. I thought he looked very good. If he doesn't start against Everton, and don't forget he had that performance in coming off the bench against Chelsea. Yep. Yes, he did. The goal got chalked off, and we know that shouldn't have been chalked off. But if Maxwell Cornet doesn't start on Sunday, I think I'm going to be very concerned indeed, especially if Jared Bowen starts ahead of him again. Listen, Jared Bowen did fantastic last season, no problem. So far this season, he's been a waste of space. Seriously.
Based on his performances this season, I would have quite happily sold him to Liverpool and taken the money and ran. Hindsight, Rob.
Yeah.
I can't even. That's all I got for you. What? I was at.
I think
Henderson's another one that should have been all over. Yeah. I mean, I'm not being funny. After that goal there, Rob, and again, it was a very typical Dawson-esque, typical big doors goal. We know this. That's what he did several times last season. He did it the other side against Leon at their gaff. Big smile on his face after the goal, and it was great to see. And I was there going, we could win this 6-1. If we'd continued doing what we were doing, we could have gone. That first half, after their first goal, we went through the motions. You're on mute. We went through the motions and we did the business. We could have won that 6-1 based on that first half performance. We came out second half and just didn't bother. As Kent said, it was a lackadaisical and inept performance.
I mean, we could have done if we'd have carried on from the 46th minute onwards at the pace we finished up to the 45th minute. We could have blown them away. Obviously, because we've got the game in the Premier League on Everton, I didn't expect that for a moment. I knew that he was going to make changes which would stunt the momentum, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't expect us once they obviously got their goal to make it 3-2, which was a poor goal because it came from our corner, if you please. It came from our corner, and Jared Bowen's got the ball, and he didn't have a fucking clue what he was going to do with it. He loses it, and then it created a 3-on-1 at one point. It was a 3v1, and I mean, I think someone put it in the chat earlier. It was like Hackney Marsh's under eights type defending. It was pathetic.
Manuel Lanzini, for that goal, was awful. He threw himself to ground on the halfway line, roughly. And it was awful. It was shocking. I could have done a better job, and I'm about 7 stone overweight and about 20 years too old to be playing, European football, if you will. And I could have done a better job at the back than any of them last night. I'm concerned with what Peter says there about the fact that Moyes is going to send them out to try and not concede against Everton.
I think if you offered Moyes a 0-0 draw at Goodison, he'd take it.
I'm telling you now, it ain't good enough. From me, that ain't good enough. You ain't going to Everton and getting a 0-0 draw and being happy with it.
But he's a safety-first manager, isn't he? He would view an away point and a clean sheet. He'd actually regard that as a moral victory, even though it's only 1 point.
But it's Everton, Rob.
I know. But I'm not talking about how I see it or how you see it. I'm talking about how David Moyes sees it. You know that's how he'd see it.
But then it's going to cost him his job. There it is. Yeah, it will. It really, really will. They're not. Listen, they ain't give. And someone mentioned it earlier.
Do you know what? I
think it was on. I think it was on. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't. And this is the point. What position did he play as a player?
Moisey, he was a centre back.
Right, there you go. That's why he plays. That's why he plays like he does.
Same as
he's defensive minded. It's here. It's here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone put on Kent's Facebook earlier. You can't just pin this on Moyes. There are 5 other managers on that backroom staff, Rob. In their own right, 5 other managers as part of his backroom team. So you can't just blame him for this, right? But the buck will stop with him. But he's playing a dangerous game. What he needs to do is just do what we do best. And what we do best is a 4-2-3-1. Stop playing out from the fucking back because we're going to get caught and we're going to concede too many times. We were very lucky on a couple of occasions last night. And just get the ball forward at pace, get it into Skamaka and around the box and let him do what he needs to do.
He makes some good bread, to be fair.
That banging bread.
Yeah. The only thing I'm going to say, Duke, there's a little bit of balance, is that despite the fact it wasn't a great performance yesterday, I think we have to, even the most optimistic, even the most rose-tinted West Ham spectacles fan has to concede that performance in the second half especially was a million miles away from what we want, what we expect. It was slack. It was poor. It was everything that we don't want to see in a West Ham team. But we got 3 points away from home. And as you can see on that table, we are top of the table, 2 games played, 6 points. And we have a 2-point advantage over Anderlecht, who are our next opponents.
Who will shit on us.
It's not all doom and gloom. I mean, some people would turn around and say, and you've heard the mantra being trotted out. If you can play badly and still win, then that's the sign of a good team, which fine. But the problem is that if you look at all of the games that we've won so far this season, can you tell me a game that we've won this season and you can say that was a 90-minute performance from start to finish? We were undisputedly the better team. Every game we've won so far, this team, I think you could look at and go, might have been lucky to get that. And that's what concerns me.
Mate, even both games against Viborg, I thought at points we were lucky. Like, I can't keep saying it. Stick to our strengths and our players' strengths. Paqueta, free roam number 10. Skamaka in and around the box. Defend and break at pace. That's what we do. That's what we've done for the last 2 years. That's what's got us into 2 top 10, 2 top 8 finishes, 2 top 7 finishes. That's what's got into Europe 2 seasons in a row. Yep. Stop dicking around. Stick to what you know. Stick to what you do. And if it means that Downs is the new Souček to be Rice, so goes forward, then let's stop doing it. Let's do what we do. Let's crack on. Because I tell you now, when we play, and we play a 4-2-3-1, I know people say, oh, people have figured us out now. Yeah, you know what? And we do have to be a bit more clever on the pitch. But 4-2-3-1 as a formation, we shouldn't be coming away from.
Yeah, I think we did. When we played 4-2-3-1, it was fine. I think it could be argued that you need to have another string to your bow. I think you need to have another formation as a sort of plan B. I think one of the criticisms I think you and I spoke about it last season as well is that when plan A didn't work, what was plan B? We didn't have a plan B. So I got no problem having a different formation. I've got no problems with David Moyes saying, let's try a 4-3-3, for example, which I think Luke has just put in the chat there after Cliff's comment. No problem having that as a plan B. But like you say, 4-2-3-1 is what got us here. It's worked quite well. And I don't know, is it that he feels that a different formation is going to get the best out of the players that he's brought in the likes of Paqueta, in the likes of Scamacca, in the likes of Cornet? I don't know. I can't make sense of it. It's hard, to be honest. I'm not in the head of David Moyes. So
4-1-4-1.
In answer to your question here, Cliff, am I enjoying it? Not really so far this season, if I'm being honest. I'm not enjoying, by and large, what I've seen. It's, even like I say, even the games we've won, we've been fairly. I mean, the game away at Villa, let's be honest, we were fortunate to win there. The game at home against FCSB was very sort of dodgy in the first half, and yesterday, what can I say? It's not pretty.
I think if you want another string to your bow, 4-1-4-1.
Decker's the one.
Deckers is the first one. Paqueta is Scamacca is the second one. Or not even that, Rob. No, not even
Downs.
I was about to say Downs is the first one. Then you have Declan Rice, and you can have Paqueta as the middle two in the 4-1-4-1.
Yep.
Then you have Bowen, Cornet, or Bowen, Benrahma. Cornet as coming on at some point. And then you have Scamacca up on top on his own, because then you've got two players in that middle two of the four. You can say to Deck, right, hang on a minute. Just hold your horses a second. You are playing a bit further up, but just hold your horses a minute and go let Paqueta be that free roam. Paqueta can be the free roam like old Snake Charmer was. Old Snake Boy that used to play for us, the old French fella. He had free roam. He had free license to go do, right? And he did. Let's not dick around. That's what Bilic gave him.
Yeah, but we're talking about a different manager, Duke.
Yeah, no, but that's what we need to do for Paqueta, Rob. Otherwise, we're going to be sitting here going, all right, well, he's going to Ajax, or he's going to Feyenoord, or he's going to somewhere else for £7 million in 2 seasons' time, and then he'll go tear it up in the Champions League. That's what's going to happen. Same with Scamacca, because we haven't learned. We haven't learned from spending 40 million on Anderson. We haven't learned from spending 40 million on Haller.
How about Vlasic?
Well, we're not going there yet, because I don't think he was given a fair crack at the whip. I really don't.
No, but he was a Moyes signing. I mean, Haller and Anderson weren't. So those you can't really level against Moyes. But Vlasic, I think you certainly can.
I mean, you can't turn around and say about Alex Crow, because he wanted Crow, didn't play him. I think we're in a transition, Rob, and it's scary. Because as Kent says, if it ain't broke, don't smash it to bits.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I say, I've got no problem with having a plan B. I've got no problem with having another formation to change to in match if the first formation isn't really working for you.
Stick with what you know, as far as I'm concerned. And we know what we can do.
Yeah.
Okay? We know that. We know how we can play. We know what we're good at. So stop fucking around. Yeah. Stop fucking around.
That was, and I said that after the first game, and obviously you and me had a slight difference of opinion about that first game against City.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, now I'm looking at that performance and where we are now and what we're talking about now. And yes, this wasn't a league game. But I'm just now looking at that and thinking, was there more to that performance than possibly you or I possibly suspected? Because that performance, I think, set the tone for where we are now.
Yeah.
You know, if we'd have had
and that's where we are as fans as well, Rob. You know, it really isn't pretty right now. And I know we're going to be doing the review for Sunday's game tomorrow.
Preview.
And if you know what I mean. I'm dreading Monday's video. Or it's not Monday's video, it'll be Sunday night's video, because obviously we have the funeral on Monday. So
you're right, Luke, it is a poor excuse. It was the same for both teams. And Fulham played in the same heat. And they had a go against Liverpool and took a point off of them. So I'm not having that.
I'm dreading doing the video for the review of the Everton game afterwards. You know,
listen, we might go there and win.
We might, but if we're coming out with the same sort of mentality as we've been playing these previous games, it's not going to be pretty. I'm not moaning. I'm not Moyes out.
If it was not pretty and we won 1-0.
It wasn't pretty last night, Rob, and I'm not happy about last night.
But then I would say that Silkeborg are probably not as good as Everton. I'm not saying Everton are great, but I think Everton are probably stronger than the opposition we played last night. You know, everything's relative, isn't it?
Then if we play like we did last night, we're going to get smashed off the park at Goodison on Sunday.
Possibly.
That's the concern. No, we will.
Possibly. But then we might not play the same 11.
Last night was piss poor. No, but it doesn't matter who he plays, Rob. It's how we play. Regardless of who plays, it doesn't matter. If we play the same way, we're going to get shat on.
Yeah. So you'd go back to basics. You'd be 4-2-3-1. Don't fuck about.
Yep.
Do what we do best. 10, Skamaka as. Let's just do a little bit of role play. So Duke, you're picking the team for Sunday. What are you picking? Who are you putting in goal?
Areola.
I know we're skipping forwards, but fuck it. We'll
Areola.
now. Okay, back four, left. I mean, because I tell you what, just before you say, what worries me, I'm looking at Cresswell and I hear what you're saying. You know, he's getting on a bit. He's not got the pace. Blah blah blah. Emerson just looks like a slightly less shit version of Arthur Masuaku.
I'd start Emerson.
Really?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Emerson, Ogbonna, Kera. Got a choice. Sufal. Sufal.
Yeah. I think Johnson and Ashby would be useful to have available.
Rice and Downs.
Mm-hmm.
Bowen left for me.
Really?
No, Cornet left. I'll stick Cornet left, actually. Cornet left, Paqueta middle, Benrahma right, Skamaka up front.
Do you know what I
actually, screw that. Antonio right.
That's what
Cornet left, Skamaka up front.
Yeah, I was going to say Antonio.
Don't get me wrong. The geezer can't cross for fucking toffee with that right foot when he's running at pace. He can come back on his left the other side and put a decent, or comes back on his right on the other side, and puts in a decent cross. We've seen it happen. But that's what I would.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I'm not entirely convinced that that's what David Moyes necessarily will go with. I think that Bowen will start. I don't think he should, personally. No. I know it, like I say, I know it was a cameo. I know people are going to watch this and say, he came off the bench. It was cold. He had to, sometimes substitute to adjust to the pace of the game. Bollocks. He's an England international, right? He should be at a level where he can come on the pitch against, let's be honest, Viborg. Silkeborg are not Manchester City at the Etihad. They're a mid-ranging Danish Super League team. He should be able to come on and at least hold his own. He was shocking yesterday. Shocking. And he's not been great all season. It's not just a one-off.
Well, what do we do?
Drop him. He needs... I know, listen, Luke, I know what you're saying. Yeah, class versus form. But he's out of form. He doesn't deserve And look, let's put it this way. What does that do to the morale of a player that could potentially take Bowen's place on the pitch? Sees Bowen's performances week on week and sees Bowen still getting picked ahead of that player. Now, whether that player's, say, Ben Rama, whether it's Cornet, whether it's Fornals, whichever player looks at Bowen and goes, I've been playing better than him this season. Why the fuck's he starting and I'm sat on the bench? What does that do for team morale?
Yeah, listen, we can sit here until we're blue in the face and rant, rave, moan, bitch, whinge, whatever you want to call it. Right now,
He did help us a bit, Epic. It has to be said.
Yeah, massively. Where we sit right now, Rob, is West Ham from 3 years ago.
That's a concern.
And that's scary. That team that nearly went down. That's where we're at right now.
Hopefully it won't come to that. Like I say, I know, look, this has to work. I mean, we've spent 180 million quid, best part of, in one transfer window. That's not really something that West Ham do. This has to work, Duke. This has to work. Because I'll tell you now, look, I'm not saying the R word. I'm not saying that. I don't think that that's realistically what we're looking at. But these players that have come in have not come here to sort of like, finish 12th in the Premier League, have they?
Of course they haven't. They've come here to
they've come here to compete.
I thought they'd come here to propel us to the next level. I saw some things online today. People having a fucking giggle. Pochettino and Tuchel. They ain't coming nowhere near our club right now, guys, the way we're playing. They're really not. And I wouldn't blame them for not. The best we could end up with...
Would you take either of them?
I'd take Poch all day long, mate, personally. That'd be me. We'd be lucky to get fucking Sean Dyche at this rate. Maybe Dean Smith.
But you're not advocating Moyes out yet.
No, not at all. No.
You're just saying hypothetically.
Far from it. I'm basically turning around and saying if these guys, these Moyes out voices that are a lot more now than there were.
Agreed.
If they think we're going to get the likes of Poch and Tuchel, if we do sack Moyes, they've got another thing coming, Rob. They're not coming here. They're not. They've heard the stories of the owners. They're not coming.
Yeah, but then again, the owners are probably going to be gone by March next year.
Yeah, but so might Moyes. And there's a scary thought.
Yeah, but if you're saying that Wood,
mate, Moyes could be gone. Moyes could be gone by the time November starts.
Yeah, possibly.
And then what? What are you going to do? Warburton until the end of the season? Fuck off. Nah,
scary thought.
And yeah, like I say, all these voices these dissenting voices that honestly do believe that we could get a Poch or a Tuchel are ridiculous.
Oh, Luke, stop it.
Luke, behave yourself. I love you.
Stop it.
I could do a better job. Put me in there. Fuck it. I've played Football Manager enough to know.
Well, I could do it with you. I've got a trophy-winning pedigree. North Kent Cup 2016. Harry's
Cliff.
Available.
Please
Cliff.
don't.
Listen,
what about Harry's dog?
No, listen. Right. Whatever you want to say about Harry,
but then so's Roy Hodgson. Like, seriously?
He got us playing some good football. To be fair, I won't have anyone having a go at Harry. I know the game's changed.
The game's moved on since then.
I know.
And that's why
Cliff's
Big
being
Sam
slightly tongue in cheek.
No, but then also I also get the arguments for. He knows West Ham. He knows what we want as fans from the players that are going to be out there. Do you see what I mean? So I get, though. I tell you what. Fuck it. Give me Brooklyn and Noble. If you're going to go down that road, give me someone that knows the lifeblood of this club. You see what I mean? Bilic knew the lifeblood of this club when he came in. Dixie knew the lifeblood of this club when he came in. They were over their heads at the end of their time at West Ham. I'm not saying they weren't, but they
Bilic
got
had
this.
managerial experience before he walked through the door.
But they had this, Rob. They had this, and I don't mean a man boob. They had the heart of a West Ham fan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. Listen, I'm not Moyes out. I'm not. There are certain fans
I
out
want
there.
him to succeed.
There are certain channels out there that are already calling for his head. Certain West Ham YouTube channels are already calling for his head. They're not necessarily the popular ones, and they're entitled
to their opinion.
Beat me to it. They're entitled to their opinion, but also, you know, you're also spreading the seed of this ridiculousness of a Potter or Tuchel, which is for me isn't going to happen. And don't get me wrong, I'd love to be able to eat my words in 12 weeks' time when Moyes does lose his job, if he loses his job, and we bring in one of those two. You know, as Kent said, Potter's bottled it at Spurs with a better squad than we had. You know.
Yeah, but is the expectation there maybe a little bit?
I was thinking.
Unreasonable? I don't know.
It's just a blank clipboard, Luke. To be fair, there's nothing on it apart from doodles, like the drawings that they've done. Tell me, what do you reckon of our pineapple? Is it any good? That's all it is.
The shopping list.
Yeah, basically. Do you need anything from Asda's? I'm going later. Yeah. Other supermarkets are available.
Yeah, they don't sponsor us, do they? So, But again, I mean, as far as managerial experience is concerned, I mean, Nolan was at Notts County for a brief spell. Didn't exactly set the world alight there. And Noble.
Lie though. I won't lie. That's whet my appetite.
Do you think? Hey, Doug.
Oh, that I could get behind.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'd like to see someone with a bit more experience at top level management. But then again, they're probably going to cost money, and I don't know with the amount of money we spent in the summer.
What happens in January?
Yeah. Wow.
They're going to want to come in and bring him. Oh, Kent. Yes.
I probably shouldn't say this.
But you're going to anyway. Go
on. Well, I did a recording with Gio on Tuesday, and it goes the little bit that we did. It's another part of the Mount Matty Rushmore series. There's actually two coming out soon. There's one on Tuesday, which is with West Ham clips. And the one on Wednesday is with Gio. And I did mention about Parker as a potential West Ham manager. And all right, maybe he hasn't done it in the Premier League. I mean, Championship, you could argue he's done very well, getting Fulham promoted and getting Bournemouth promoted. Has he done it at the Premier League? No. But who knows? Who knows?
With the right players. Yeah, I wonder.
Anyway, right. Should we knock it on the head there, mate? Because you've got a pub to run, haven't you? Are they smashing it up yet?
No, it's still in one piece. I've got a DJ tonight, and Joe's just messaged me to say, wrap it up, dinner's ready. So, yeah, there we go.
Fair enough. That's a good little bit of timing, my mate. So we're going to reconvene tomorrow.
24 hours.
What time? Going to do
about 6:30 again, if you're happy to, if you're about. Yeah, because then it gives me an hour to do the video and then get back downstairs, because it's Becca's birthday tomorrow, and yeah, we're having this. I had a debate on another YouTube channel today.
Talk to us, Ken. Talk to us. Anyway, so you guys there, you're on notice that we're going to be going again for the match preview of the Everton game tomorrow around about 6:30, there or thereabouts, depending on our schedules.
Possibly go live again.
Yes,
Sunday night, because obviously we don't want to do anything with the funeral on Monday.
Yep.
So we'll probably go live around 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I'd say that'd be
on Sunday night. I'll get Joe to come and cover while we do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you guys there that sort of like Duke's just said, because Monday, normally we do the match review the day after the match. So that would obviously be on a Monday, but that's the day of the Queen's funeral. So we've just thought, no. So we're going to do it a couple of hours after. Hopefully we'll be in celebratory mood because West Ham have put Everton to the sword with a swashbuckling performance. 3-0. And we'll be smiles, and we'll be sitting here going, well, it was a bit of a moan up after the Silkeborg game, but life actually isn't so bad. What do we reckon, guys? What do we reckon? Is that how it's going to go? Or are we going to come back and Duke's going to be moaning again?
We'll wait and see.
All will be revealed in the next couple of days. Hang on, Kent's come back. Had a fair debate with another YouTube channel today regarding Moyes and Poch. Okay, another YouTube channel. You can name them. I don't mind, unless you don't want to.
There's a few. There's a few out there, and like I say, there's a few that are advocating Moyes out, and I'm getting a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not advocating Moyes out, but I can understand why they would.
Listen, everyone is entitled to their own opinions, Rob. You know, I don't necessarily agree with you all the time, but
no, that's cool.
That's just the way it is. You know, there are times we agree, there are times we disagree. You know, we agree to disagree, we move on. You know, but that's how it should be. But you know, yeah, it gets. It's one of them. It's a bit damning when it's consistently happening. You know what I mean?
Well, before we go, Duke, I want to see you smiling. So, Duke, what are we?
Mediocre.
Come on, you can do better than that.
Tapioca.
We are tapioca.
Rice pudding.
Come on, you irons. We'll see you tomorrow, guys.